Digital, sustainable, and profitable. So many contradictions in 3 words. Now, when an investment banker starts talking about the nature, it already sounds really, really, really wrong. But I'm not just an investment banker. I'm a complete animal lover. And I knew when I visited Africa as a 12-year-old with my grandfather that one day I would stand in front of you and give you a presentation like the one today. Now, I've been writing a few speeches for today, and I changed it. But in the end, it's all about concepts. And when you listen to COP, we are joking that NOAH is COP.com. You will find out that startups are not part of the 33,000 attendees going to Egypt back then. Also the 37,000 people going to Glasgow, when you scrape those people and try to find them on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, you realize maybe 10, maybe 2 NOAH speakers. But there is no platform for digital sustainability. That's what we want to be. Is that enough? Not at all. Out of 521 sustainability officers working for German offsetters, the ones who you find in the registries where the carbon credit ton is offset, only 3. And it's not the lucky 3 or all good numbers are 3. Don't confuse it with my marriages. That's terrible. And I think we have done everything possible to bring them here. So why are they not here? They're not here because there are 300 registered climate initiatives with the United Nations. Who needs 301? I guess that explains. If you look at regulation, I don't know who recently discussed forest regulation, the concept of additionality. It never gets to that. Never passes the logo dropping, the press releases, the big announcements. Standards. Do we have a taxonomy? We don't. Do we have democratic processes behind standards? We don't. Now, it's very interesting. If you look at IPCC and if you talk about what needs to change, everyone comes with concepts. In fact, we downloaded, listen to this number, from 300,000 URLs, organizations, 30 million PDFs. So someone would argue, maybe we lost more trees in the battle to save them, because looking at 0.1% forest protection programs, it's certainly not enough. So the buzzwords, transparency, data. Okay, let's go there. We have them all here. We have the solutions here. We found the solutions to make sustainability a reality tomorrow. We don't need to develop. We don't need to be optimistic and having faith in R&D and technology. We just need to put the right doors open and help people to communicate. Financing. There's no natural capital industry. All the white papers and PDF documents are talking about something which is a wishful thinking, but there's no connection with capital and nature. It's needed. Implementation, mostly done by NGOs, consultancies, and this healthy ecosystem, which reminds me more of a political sect than anything who tries to do impact on the ground. If you read the impact reports of Global Environmental Facility, it's satisfactory. Everything is satisfactory, but there's no data to the mission. Education. Who knows about how local communities being educated in the war of climate? They're ignored in it. Monetization. Everyone is crazy about carbon credits. So many carbon credits experts in the world. Forget about carbon credits. It's just one little layer. We happen to have 30 billion corporate pledges to offset emissions by 2030, but our project volume is only like 600 million. There are ambitions like in Gabon, sovereign carbon. Let's do the whole country, 90 million a year. That's the way to go. That's how we scale. And you will learn about this later. So I end with biodiversity. There's no biodiversity data. You have IUCN, 16,000 experts. You have GBIF, which is an animal sightings platforms by scientists. And then you have ad hoc opportunistic work here and there. But no one connects the data. That's what we want to do. That's our dream. Now, sustainability is so complicated because if it's not working for one stakeholder group, it may work for another stakeholder group. So the complexity to align everything to one joint strategy can only be done if we include all stakeholders. And who is in the middle? The people on the ground. That's where it all starts. So we came up with a concept called Juicy Data, which is going to be a data provider to the Data Alliance. We started with that 2 years ago. Spoke to a lot of people. Don't take no for an answer. And in the end, we came to the conclusion, what a mess out there. Everyone tries to do the same. Everyone says the same. And it's impossible to see who is doing real good work. So we came up with the idea to basically scrape all the content on the internet and put it into who is the stakeholder, what cause are they looking after, how do they do it, what type of projects, and then how well are they doing that. So Juicy Data is going to come in Q1. But let's talk about the data lines. And you will have around 40 presentations throughout the entire program about the data lines. How would a world need to look like to have sustainability? That was the starting point. And that's the answer. It's complex, but it needs to be. If you don't align the, let's call it mini Bloomberg companies to one gigantic Bloomberg, and we fast forward 20 years and get this engine, there won't be sustainability. In fact, we wouldn't even know when we lose the species or not. So we have created, with a group of 100 people, we announced a few weeks ago, the Data Alliance. And the Data Alliance is working. We have a WhatsApp group. Since we announced, 40 new companies ask us to join the Data Alliance. It's both NGOs, for-profit, scientists. It's basically whoever want to be part of our open source collaboration platform. We are creating digital twins, a term Florian Siegert from Remote Sensing Solutions Group brought into the picture. Only when you know what's going on the land, you can attempt to protect it. 90% of the NGO funding is given in person, usually at nice dinners with beautiful champagne and sad speeches. If you convert this, so 10% is given online, maybe that's the reason why we don't have proper impact measurement. This is a system. We create projects, no matter what, agroforestry, tourism, carbon. We look for partners. We bring the securitization of long-term agreements. We enable community. This thing is working. I can tell you, not a lot of people who I met knew me, and no one from maybe 700 people had a valid argument against this. Yes, we have to change some regulation. We have to include carbon sinks and not just the additionality everyone is talking about. But in the end, this is one world. If we are not one team, what's the point of doing this? And the funny thing is, everyone is an expert. It's just important to find out who is the best expert in what field. And we have been talking to a lot of people. Many people are here. So this is the functional overview of the data lines. And now you may ask, okay, what are these NOAH guys up to? Forget the conference. It's just the annual general meeting. We are working on this. And this means we have a clear execution part to save 5 billion hectares of nature. We are now at the Data Alliance. The land management or the land coalition will be the focus of the next year's conference.